really professional. Hello, everybody. Big wave to everybody. Good evening. So, Lindsay's got a clapper, which makes everything. Show us a clapper. That's a bit rude.
Thank you to Ben Dixon. Ben Dixon sent this to me through the post.
Look at that. And I've got a sign. My first fan mail sent to me by Nadia. She made that during lockdown. Lockdown art. That one. And welcome to Goth Kitchen, everybody. It's quite an exciting one. Oh, look at that.
Hey.
This is my kitchen. It's the corner of my kitchen. I'm in rainy Essex today, in normally sunny Southend, but it's been fucking awful today, so it's been horrible and grim. Which I quite like it like that. It's quite nice.
Like a true goth.
Yeah, all the way, mate. Black blood and everything. Yeah, totally. It's just treacle. It's just, yeah, totally. Literally, just Robert Smith in the front room watching telly. Welcome to Goth Kitchen. Mark Archer.
Thank you for having us.
Extraordinaire and brains behind this entire project. Andy Stewart, ex-Idol, and Boss.
Hi.
There we go. So we're here tonight. We're going to, quite exciting, Esther. We're going to talk about this monumental, fabulous film stroke documentary. What do you class it as? A film or a documentary?
A film about idols.
A film about idols. It is. Let's go around the room first. I'm going to start with Mark. Mark, how are you? Where are you? How's lockdown? How's the weather been?
I'm good. I'm all right. I am in Bristol in an Airbnb. Weather's pretty awful, but that's all right. It's nice. We had our fair share of like sun, so as a ginger person, I'm all right inside for a few days.
Good.
So yeah, no, good. How are you?
Not bad. Do you live in an Airbnb like Alan Partridge? Is that your?
No. I'm bouncing around a little bit at the moment. So
the static phone, Brian.
He's homeless.
Yeah.
He's homeless.
Technically, that's what I'm trying not to say.
Well, thank you for being here, Mark. Andy.
What the hell is going on in the corner of your screen? What is that?
Oh, that's cats.
Oh, right.
There's a collection of cats. That's Dolly's head, and there's Frank. Look, named after Frankie Furter, obviously, bit of a goth. But enough of my pussy. Boom, boom. Andy Stewart.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Not bad. Whereabouts in the world are you tonight?
I am in Bristol.
Bloody hell. In the same Airbnb as Mark?
Yeah, things happen.
You in the other room?
He's in the nice room.
I'm in the dungeon. I'm in the dungeon. That's where he keeps me.
Very good.
Uses me when he wants.
And your role, your title within this film, which we'll go into more later on, but your title was
the producer of this film.
Nice. And who's this one up top? You might be up top to me. You're probably not for everyone else, but
I think I am.
Evening, boss.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm operating on maybe like 2 hours sleep because Dylan decides to wake up every 45 minutes at night at the moment.
This is Dylan, your son, not your husband.
Dylan is my son.
Yeah. I'm just clearing that up for anyone who wasn't too sure.
5 months old, used to sleep really well, now is awake every 45 minutes, which is brilliant, and then needs constant entertaining throughout the rest of the day. So we just had our reggae disco before he went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, is that a regular thing?
Yeah, every night for half an hour.
It should be.
Yeah.
Roots or dancehall? Has he got a style he likes more?
Bob Marley, Three Little Birds on repeat.
Okay.
That sounds like the worst reggae disco I've ever heard.
I've been to some, but that one sounds dreadful.
Can you imagine?
And sober as well, which is a bit weird.
Right.
Yeah.
You are weird up north, though, aren't you? So I'm not gonna.
And there's only 3 of you there.
And the baby has no idea what's going on.
No, he loved it. He loved it.
Okay.
He's such
Mark Archer.
Yes.
Filmmaker extraordinaire. Mark, start off by telling me about your background before we talk about this film you've made. Where does your background come from in making film?
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, like, it's. I started off in TV, so finished uni and went to London. Joined an independent company there who kind of looked after me, took me under their wing, and basically just worked on worked on a load of really interesting docs. People's history of LGBT, NHS as well, the People's History. There was, I went to another company, did Trump, An American Dream. Now that was an intense time. That was when he had just got his presidency. So that was when we were still surprised by his tweets every day. So
Okay.
yeah, I stayed in London for about 6 years, and then came to Bristol and wanted to start making my own stuff.
So you've made more of your own documentaries before this one?
First one.
Oh wow.
First one.
Well
I
done.
did. Yeah, I kind of. I did a short film not too long ago. That I got a lot of value from. A lot of, like, you know, it was the first one getting to know the drill really, but this is really the first. This is the, you know, this was winging it to a T.
I had this discussion with bosses yesterday. We're all winging it. Everyone.
Yeah.
On everything we do and say, everyone's winging it. And when someone looks really confident and cocky in front of you, they just find a better way of winging it. So
yeah. No, I had some great advice once. It was from a lady who ran this company I was working for, and I was like, you know, I was still like a runner, you know, T-boy, and making drinks and being like, oh, I really want to make stuff. I was like, how do you like climb the ladder? How do you get there? And she was like, Mark, I'm like in my 50s, like we're all winging it. Just, you know, if you want to make something, go make something. So that's kind of how this came about. Brilliant.
So your connection with idols, are these lads that have always been around? Had you known Andy for a long time?
No, I kind of met Andy really properly fairly recently, but like we probably crossed paths a few times through John. I went to school with John.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like the weird. I was kind of like, because, you know, John's a few years younger than the other boys.
Than everyone.
Kind of like the weird little ginger mate, like John's little, you know, fanboy of the band that used to like turn up at the pub and, you know, try and maybe muster up a bit of like courage to talk to some of the other boys. Like that was kind of my role for a long time. But yeah, it was through John really, man, and then through John. Yeah, slowly got to know.
And when you met John, how far were the band? What year was this?
When it was like, yeah, when John. Well, I knew John since we were kids, but
okay.
I kind of, you know, I remember when he first joined the band type thing. I was like, Jesus Christ, you're joining this band of like lads in their mid-20s. That's a bit intense for like a.
And he was about 12.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
did you think of us, Mark, when you saw him hanging around with a?
Like how the skit first, I was like, then that was probably the first time I was like, he must be really talented. Like I knew he had talent, but like if these guys are like picking him up when he was that young, I was like, okay, well maybe he's actually like more talented than he lets on.
Because he looked like a little 12-year-old paper boy, and all the other boys looked like Spandau Ballet.
Took him a while to get his like appearance, his identity down. I think Andy will agree. It might have even been when like Andy had left the band, he started coming into his own. I think John will agree. To be fair. Yeah. Okay,
so moving forward, you've done you've started working, making. So you decide now you want to make your own documentaries. You want to start doing that. When and why did you think that idols would be a good subject and a good topic to run with?
Well, to be fair, there was never a discussion from day one that we wanted to make. I wanted to make a documentary. It was always a short film, like, because I just dibble-dabbled in the short film that I was working on at the time, and then I was trying to find. I was a bit fed up of the sort of negativity in society. I was like, I just want to find positive freaking stories to tell in like a short form format. And it was at the time when idols they just got a gig at the Moth Club. They were just got called to do the Maccabees support gig.
Yeah.
And I was like, at that time, because that had been like, I don't know, 6-7 years. Andy, like, you can correct me, like if to get to that stage, and a lot of people are giving them like no time whatsoever. And I'm living in London, and to me, seeing them going to Ali Pali supporting the Maccabees and going to places like the Moth Club, I was like, damn, that is that's a story of like, you know, it was just something I invested in terms of like their determination to get there. I was like, that's a beautiful short story. So it all started with me like just messaging Marco, their manager, and saying, can I make a short film? And then kind of snowballed.
So when this, so Moth Club's March 2017, Maccabees is, I think, a month later. When I first met you and you spoke about the film, because you were standing in the street with a big camera on your arm, as you were for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
About December 2017. So by the end of that year, had you already in your head, had it already moved on to a feature, something more than a short film? Or was you still thinking you were still making this, or did you not know where it was going to go?
No, it really grew organically. Like I met Lindsay at, I don't know, was it that summer?
You emailed me in September because you wanted to see some of my photos, and John had
Yeah.
been in touch. And
So
we met up about a month later in Peckham or New Cross or somewhere.
So maybe it took me this summer to think, like this could be more or something like that. But yeah, because I don't know, maybe it was still a short film idea when we met up in the pub, because, you know, and like Lindsay was shooting so many bands at the time, and I was like, these shots are unbelievable. And then it was in that pub, she was like, do you know about the Afghan? And I was like, what are you, no, like what's that? And then she kind of, that's where she introduced this whole other aspect to this short film idea about an inspiring, you know, group of men who had just like had gone through so much already, and were still going through it, even when everyone was saying, give up, like, you know, give up. When Lindsay mentioned the Afghan, it was like, damn, maybe now there's something more.
So it's a question later for Lindsay, but you can both cover it now if you want. At what point? Because when you watch the film now, it's very much the Afghan theme runs all the way through it. It's mentioned very early on, and then you keep going back to it. So it very much feels like a community idols Afghan movie. It tells that it follows the whole 3 years. Was there a conscious point in that you thought this needs to be there, or was it just felt right? The footage just felt right. It seemed right. I know, because obviously Joe and the boys talk about community and unity and all this kind of stuff all the time, and obviously that's what we've always tried to strive for in the Afghan. Was there a conscious decision to make it as big as it's ended up being?
We never knew how big it would end up being, because we started making it when it was, you know, the group was small. It was, we had no idea, but there was something there that we wanted to carry on documenting.
To be fair, if you spoke to Lindsay first about the Afghan, around that time, the Afghan was probably about 500 people big.
Yeah, that was just before the Heaven show, wasn't it? So where was that, December?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we got to 1,000 about February the next year. So yeah, you're talking in the hundreds still.
Yeah.
And we're now at 27,000. So it's a different. Yeah. I looked the other day when the week Joy came out, we were at 7,000. Oh. So we've done 20,000 in the last 2 years, which is mad. So yeah, everything's got bigger and grown and stuff. So, Mark, what was your highlight? You've made this entire film. I'm talking about the money. Did you back this financially?
Well, yeah, it's been self-funded completely. Like we wanted to keep.
Why you were living in an Airbnb?
we wanted to. We wanted to. We wanted to keep the creative control, mate. Basically, you know, like it was. We didn't want it to become anything more than what our vision was, really.
So excuse my ignorance. If someone had come in, a film company, a production company, said, "I want to back this," would you have lost a lot of artistic direction in it?
Yeah, I think it would. Firstly, look at me. I'm not an established filmmaker. Like, take it like it was a risk making this. Like we needed. I've quickly found, like, I had to. You know, I spoke to Lindsay, and then my sister Sarah really helped steer the ship, and then Andy came on board. Like, we needed to get more than just like my little idea. Like,
yeah,
we needed everyone's roles in there. But yeah, like if we would have sold it elsewhere, you would have taken maybe, you know, a story away from a group of people who maybe, you know, like why not us, you know, like we've been there, we understand it, and so it was a risk, but I'm kind of proud of like where we all got to, you know.
So 3.5 years later, it's finally out there now. What
Yeah,
was your, looking back over the last 3.5 years, what was your single best highlight? Was there a single moment you just?
Now, do you know what? Like there's it's been like I've not looked back like for a split second once, even like, you know, now there's still like a lot of work to do and everything. But I don't know, that first day, it was the first the first day I filmed with Idols. I couldn't make the Moth Club. I couldn't make it because I was working, I think, at the time. So the first day I filmed with them was at Ali Pali. And I just, about 2 days before I started filming, I had my backpack nicked. And my backpack, because I was sleeping around people's like floors whilst I was working in London. I mean, like, I should probably have just got a place, but the backpack got nicked, and it had my camera, it had my laptop, it basically had my whole life in this bag. And so 2 days, you know, that was 2 days before this first Ali Pali gig, and like one of my mates, Alice at the time, was like, you can borrow my camera if you want. So like, I didn't have a top mic on the camera, I literally just had a camera that you'll see the shots in the film. I mean, like, I was like a mess at the time, but that gig was like seeing, especially like, you know, it was seeing guys that I had seen work so hard finally having a platform.
Yeah.
Which in my eyes, that was like opening the door to, you know, what was to come type thing. So maybe that. Sorry for the long.
I'm just thinking that what a shame you couldn't make the Moth Club, because it was a bit of an epic one for.
Yeah.
I mean, my first gig, Lindsay's first Idols gig, Louise's first Idols gig, it would have been nice to have that.
Yeah, I feel like there were some moments in time though where, you know, it's nice left as a moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, very much so.
Also,
So,
would have been nice if your first gig was 3 years before that, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, when you stand like Spandau Ballet, I wasn't interested then. So, bringing in Andy, Pete Best Stewart. How are you?
Very well, Brian. Thanks for having us on the Goth Kitchen.
Lovely to be here, mate. Your full role in this film was?
I'm the producer. Well, it ended up being producer.
Explain to me what that is. What do you do?
Everything that Mark.
Okay.
No, it's just everything that happens without a camera, really, Mark, isn't it?
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything from obtaining permits to film somewhere, or to hiring people. Like Mark wanted an editor, so I found him an editor. To arranging, you know, the release of the film, to the finance side of things. It's basically everything that doesn't involve the camera or the editing process, really.
That sounds like a secretary.
Yes.
Brilliant.
I'm a secretary.
Is that just so? Producers just okay? I've got it now. I understand. I've never understood what a producer does. Now it's just a secretary. That's fine. Thank you very much for that.
I think we should arrange a movement for all credits on films to now just say secretary.
Secretary, yeah. Why not?
I gotta say that the thing about this film is
secretary,
like
Steven Spielberg.
The lines were so blurred along the way, like in terms of, you know, the team was so small. Like everyone, we were molded into like different roles. You know, like I wouldn't have ever put lines into like everyone's roles. Like everyone's pitched in, and it's been like a total effort by everyone. You know,
community. All put in. That funny word again, isn't it? I'm sick of it. So, Andy, you mentioned editor a minute ago. A lot of feedback last week about that film. About it's just basically obviously the content and the story is fabulous, and the footage Mark's managed to get, and some of those historical gigs. I mean, the Shackwell Arms, the footage from the Shackwell Arms, who the fuck found that? That's just fabulous to see all that stuff. But the way it's been put together is absolutely fucking marvelous. It's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think some people will probably underappreciate how hard that was, because obviously Mark's gone out and got all this footage, but there was never really, as Mark kind of touched upon earlier, there was never really like a focus on what the film was going to be, what the story was going to be, what direction it was going to go in. And that all kind of comes from the edit process. You've got all this footage. Can you remember how much footage you had?
It was a lot. Yeah, a lot of archive, a lot of, yeah, you know, people were sending us the footage, and we had like a very loose structure to the film. But in terms of what we gave to Tom, he had a lot of creative freedom into how we created those stories. Like, we would give headlines and ideas, and we had time for him to shape them, and he had time to work with it.
Who's Tom?
None of us know still.
Tom Hanks.
Never met him.
Secretary.
No, we brought Tom in, and he's kind of been a revelation since. So, it took, you know,
He's a real star.
It took, this whole process has taken a lot longer than we all thought. So it's taken a lot of, you know, determination to stay on track with it, really, and he has. So.
How many final edits did you think you saw? How many times did you watch it and go, that's it, that's the one that is done, and then someone else went, no? How many different versions were there?
I'll let Andy answer that.
If you had asked us about 2 years ago, we probably would have said about 20.
Oh, already?
That was 2 years ago.
And were other people, were you then finding other footage, thinking, fuck, this has to be in it? Or was it just what you had, you knew could have been tweaked?
I think there was actually times where I was like that, and Mark had to be like, no, we've already got a shitload.
Yeah.
Because there he is. Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Here's what's burning.
Tom's the editor. Now, I know what an editor does, Andy, so I haven't got to ask him what that job was.
Oh, bye, Tom.
We were talking about you, Tom.
My advice has not changed.
So, Tom, editor.
Yes.
How did you know Mark prior to this?
Through Andy, who got me on the job. I think, God, when was it? Definitely over a year ago.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a long, long time ago.
About February, March last year.
There's been a lot of well done since then.
And this is your job. You're an editor by trade.
Yes. Yeah.
The only professional amongst us.
You're pretty good at it. I was saying to Andy, you might have heard that it's been a big bit of the positive feedback about the film, not just the content, etc., but how it all looks and how it's all put together. The way it's not just start, middle, end. It flips beautifully. I don't know. I'm just sucking your toes now, but I'm sucking your toes, and I'm a big fanboy, so I'm always going to do that anyway. But it's fabulous. Was it hard? Was you sitting on?
You know what? Bizarrely, it really wasn't that difficult. I mean, no. not in terms of that.
I
did it with my eyes closed.
Easily. Sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I think the beauty of it was Mark just let me kind of get on with it, which you rarely get in this kind of job. And it allowed me to kind of just really listen to the interviews and kind of get my own idea of who each member was, because I didn't really know who Idols were to start with. I wasn't actually a fan, if I'm honest. But it was nice to get to kind of know them and their story, and yeah, kind of made me appreciate them in a whole new way.
So did literally Mark just literally go, there you go, there's 12 hours of footage. Make it 20 minutes, please.
Yeah.
Not 12 hours, Brian.
It was
really?
Yeah. A lot of copying files and waiting for them to finish, yeah.
And then watch it go, well, I can't use that shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, he got better as he went on, so.
That was just your interview, Brian.
Oh, okay.
No, it was all good.
Well, so going back to, unless anyone else has got a question directly for Tom about editing. Oh, Andy has. Put your hand up.
There you go.
It's not about editing.
Oh, good.
It's about your hair.
Oh, I know.
You said you weren't a fan when you first started doing it. Are you a fan now? You can't. I mean, you can't say no, can you?
No,
I was with him at Ali Pali. I know he's a fan now.
yeah. I was a very broken voice the day after that. That was something special. That was.
But would you say are you like? Have you got like all their albums now, and are you converted? Or?
Ultimate
Yeah,
fan.
I'd say. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Freebie.
I paid him to do that.
I mean, the shirt was extra because the producer told me to dress up a bit.
For once in your life.
He has got a shirt on himself, so there you go. So, probably a question for Andy, because you seem to be the person that knows all these things. This film was eventually launched last week on the Afghan site. Thank you very much for that. Absolutely honoured for it to be there as a streaming service. That obviously wasn't the original plans. If we weren't in lockdown and we were out drinking and partying and etc., what were your original plans for the launch of this movie?
Well, originally we wanted to do a very small cinema run. So whether that was like a week or 2 weeks in selected cinemas in the country, that was the original plan, and also to go to festivals with it. So obviously you've got countless film festivals, but then music festivals now have got a lot of cinema tents where they do premieres and stuff. So the plan was to do festivals and a very small cinema run, but then obviously when the pandemic hit, that all changed. And then we didn't really know what to do after that, did we, Mark? We just kind of sat on it.
Yeah.
We just sat on it for ages thinking, what are we going to do now? Because everyone in the country thought that, no matter what job you've got, everyone thought that. And then we had a chat with Marco, the band's manager, and then it just suddenly clicked, and we were kind of like, right, let's get this online now, you know?
Yeah.
Whilst the film was well, I was gonna say the film was finished.
Yeah. Slow down.
And we kind of agreed to
sprint to the finish line, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we gave ourselves 2 weeks because we thought if we're going to put it online, let's get it up there as soon as possible, because other things down the line were happening. We just thought this 2 week period was the time to do it, and then we kind of agreed to it, and then we were like, shit, that's actually in 2 weeks' time.
So it was just
finish the film.
And how was the subtitles, Mark?
that was something.
Tell me what you did. Tell me what you did the day before, the 2 days before the film came out.
Well, all right, fine. Like we got to we finished the film 2 days out. Like everything's done and dusted. We've got the sound mix from North Carolina, where our sound engineer Jeremy was mixing the film because he just knew the sound knew everything was in the color grade from Dan, all sorted. Tom had it all down, and then I kind of was like, I want to try and open it up to as many people as possible, and it's really grated me. But the price of subtitles, man, is extortionate. So like we managed.
Hang on, Mark, can I just interject and just say, 2 days before the film's released, Mark sends me an email and said, would it be mad for me to do the subtitles myself? Mark just sent you an email back saying yes. But then he went ahead and did them.
No, it wasn't me. There was a complete team effort. Like my girlfriend's Spanish, and so she basically wrote out the film in Spanish within about like I don't know, a day. And it took her probably about 8-10 hours.
Can you say what you actually did do though, Mark? Are you happy to say what you actually did?
Yeah, because I think it's kind of
it's hilarious.
So we had the subtitles in English, and anyone who knows when you've got to upload subtitles to Vimeo, like they've got to be in a very specific format in like a web file, and it's got to have the time codes of every single second. It's very like precise. So we had to get that done, and we had to get it done. We paid for it and got it done in English. I kind of just like took that format and maybe just like got my Spanish girlfriend, you know, thanking her forever. My French cousin, thank you, Oliver, like to like, you know, correct it and do it in French and Spanish. So if I had more, if I had friends who could speak other languages,
It would have been there.
doubt they want to get involved, to be honest. It's because they're family, more or less. So like, yeah,
Well,
2 days, but it worked, and I'm glad. We want to reach as many people as possible, so it's just part of that. Really.
Brilliant. So what?
I felt so
Another.
guilty on those last couple of days when I was just kicking back, like, film's done.
There's always
Speak
one
on
more
a
shot.
Sunday, and you're like,
Something to do.
me and Marina have been up since 4 a.m. translating.
I was like,
So the film's gone down exceptionally well. It obviously has in the Afghan, it's a bit of an echo chamber there, but it's an absolute glorious piece of work, and they love it. But people want to own it. What's the plan? Or what's the plans? Are there plans, future plans, for this to come out as a physical release, or something that people can maybe buy one day and download and keep? Or where's it going to go after these 2 weeks?
We can actually reveal on this interview that we're going to strip you naked, Brian, parade you down the streets of Bristol and project the film onto your back.
Okay, I'm up for that.
That's
Every day?
yeah.
All right then.
I knew you'd say yes.
Okay. Of course I would. Of course I would. What's the plans then?
Well, we're
Tell it to Netflix.
We had someone tweet the other day, Netflix, are you watching? And we were like, yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's some money. We'll have it.
These things take a really long time to organise. We're planning on releasing it. Either, well, hopefully a TV channel will pick it up, or we'll get it onto DVD one day. But it just takes a long time. And as I mentioned earlier, this 2 week period that it was available online, that was so rushed. You know, it was really done last minute.
Why 2 weeks online? Why not just online permanently?
Well, it was kind of basically a replacement for not being able to put it on in a cinema, because we had originally planned to, put it on for maybe a week at the cinema, maybe 2 weeks. And because the cinemas are closed, this is literally, just a like-for-like replacement from the cinema.
Yeah.
Boss, Lindsay, sitting up there in the middle, looking all angelic. How are you? You all right? You still awake? So,
Yes.
What was your role? Give me your full title within this film.
Oh, it's ended up being associate producer, but when I first got on board, it was just because Mark wanted to use just some of my photographs in the film.
So what is this? So we're now a producer secretary. We've got that. What's an associate secretary? What's the difference between that role and Andy? Are you Andy's secretary? Are you the secretary?
No, I think I'm Mark's secretary.
Oh,
she's basically Lindsay and my sister basically they hosted all the interviews, and they were the people on the ground with me and getting all the footage and doing the interviews. It wouldn't, like, those two, women, like, the film wouldn't have been done without them. So yeah.
You were filming on your mobile phone as well, Lindsay, because that stuff at my birthday party in that Indian restaurant, I had no idea that was there until that film came out.
I know.
I'm thinking that must be you on your phone.
That was me on my phone.
Right.
So I was basically just running around with Mark, helping with the filming, doing the interviews, just getting in his little car, driving up to Hull. Yeah, some fond memories of us driving around rainy cities, getting interviews, trying to get people to be part of the film, using connections, getting Lamo involved, getting Felix involved. Yeah, just making things happen, I think, is the role.
That's it.
So did you, as Afghan God, creator of the universe of Afghan, because that's what you are, was it your involvement in this film that brought in that Afghan element?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So we met in a pub. I think I'd been to a Yao band practice, and then I met Mark in New Cross, and that's when I said, have you heard about Afghan? Because I'm sure there's some really cool stories that you could use in the film. And that's how it came about. And then we started interviewing Afghan members alongside people like Stephen Mack and Felix, because they were talking about their kind of stories and journeys, and how Idols was helping in some way, and how Afghan was helping in that supportive community.
So this took up quite a bit of your time as well as being a pregnant lady and running the Afghan.
Yeah, I didn't see too much at the end of the film. I think that was when it was mainly in its edit, but I think it was 2018 we were pretty full on.
You were everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
So what was your highlight? Like I asked Mark, when you're going back over those last 3 years, obviously apart from talking to me at the Moth Club, because that must have been fabulous, what was your highlight?
Interviewing Steve Lamacq.
Mhm.
In a
That
pub?
was a bit ridiculous.
In his pub? Was that because he goes to the pub? He goes to the pub every day before the show, I think.
Yeah.
I've read somewhere. Was that where when
Yeah,
you
so
did
we
it?
met him in his pub with his famous 1 pint of Strongbow before doing the show. And we just sat and had a chat. And I think it went really well because I'm just a huge fangirl. That's the whole reason I started F-Gang, is because I was a massive fan of Idols, just wanted to be involved somehow. And Lamo's exactly the same. He's just a massive fanboy. So we just got on really well. And I was so nervous, but because we got on so well, I think it flowed in it. We got some really great quotes out of him that I'm really proud of in the film.
Some great quotes that aren't in the film either.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good to like release some of the full interviews at some point because there's so much footage that hasn't made it into the film.
Yeah, 10th anniversary box set. It's the Blu-ray box set. It's all there.
Yeah.
Fine. Do it there. That's
So,
when we get Tom,
definitely the
when we get Tom back and go, right, there you go. Get this sorted out. You've got a week.
Yeah.
So when you were interviewed by Lamo on the radio only last year about something completely different, and he said to you, "Oh, you've got an Idols film coming out soon," and you completely ignored his question on how did you feel? You were fabulously professional at that.
Because it was just so up. We didn't know what was happening with the film at that point, but obviously Lamo knew because he was interviewed for it. And he was in Sheffield on his Indie Venue Week tour and asked me to come down and talk about the Sheffield music scene. And I'd had Dylan 10 days before. So I was, still recovering from a C-section. Didn't know what the hell was going on. Just some kind of zombie milk machine. But I was like, I can't say no. So I went down and then he said, oh, and you've also made a film about idols. And
you ignored the question completely.
It was like this. Shit. I mean, who tells Lamo not to talk about something?
On his own show, yeah, shut up, mate.
There's me going, no, God. And I managed to, I just backtracked and talked about something else and got away with it. And he was brilliant. He was laughing afterwards. But yeah,
so
I think I remember texting Mark about that.
Yeah.
Because we chatted on Facebook, Tom, do you remember? And I was like, shit, did Mark hear that? But it was,
he did.
I had no idea this went on.
Did you not? No, because you'd given up by then.
I guess the thing was we hadn't
give a shit from.
Yeah, we'd never announced anything, had we? Like it just kind of we were just letting it grow organically until it turned into what we knew would be like a finished article. Like we were never going to announce anything before, like we were just going to let it grow, and it did. So yeah, when he announced it first, we were like,
yeah, yes, brilliant.
And I just had a baby.
Yeah.
There were people on the Afghan game. Did he mention a film when we was going? No. So it's all about, he must have misheard it, totally misheard it. It was the biggest secret for a long time. It was brilliantly well done, absolutely. When the trailer dropped, only what, weeks ago?
3 weeks ago?
Like, it's this. Well, the trailer, 3 weeks ago, yeah, it must have been. People were just stunned. They had no idea. And I was in my head, everyone knew about it anyway, but
I think the people that we'd filmed with knew how DIY it was, and like we all had jobs, and like Lindsay had a baby, my sister had a baby throughout this whole process. Like life took its, like we all had other things going on, and we put our time in it around that. This has never been anyone, like it's been like an effort from everyone on the weekends and the evenings. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think people who we had filmed with kind of appreciated. Maybe not to like shout out too loud about it until we knew we had something.
When did you see the film, Brian, for the first time?
Lindsay showed me very early edit. No, she didn't.
It's all right. We told you or Louise told Ali Kelly anyway.
And we were in an Airbnb, not your one you're in now, right? When the weekend Paddy, so Lindsay had a very early rough edit on her laptop at the time, but it was very different to what I watched last week.
Yeah.
So, very different.
And the final edit, like I suppose you did, because the final edit happened 2 days before we released it. So.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, come on.
Tom, our editor, hasn't seen
Yeah.
it.
I've not seen the final edit either.
Fuck's sake.
Has anyone seen it?
Sunday.
I saw it only twice.
Yeah.
I did see it.
Thanks, Brian.
That's all right. It was good. It's good. It's worth watching.
Yeah, good.
If you've literally got nothing else to do, it's worth watching.
No, just watch it. It's God. Yeah. Mark's got to buy a house. He's living homeless at the moment. He needs a bit of money back, for God's sake. Now, talking of money, a fantastic way of earning yourself a bit of money to pay this back, Mark. Merch. Where's the merch? Why am I not walking around in an Idols DGT t-shirt?
Gotta say, the film has kind of taken our concentration slightly. We've had
good enough.
Yeah, no, we've had no time to think, honestly. Like we've had to be like, you know, sort of just fully concentrating, getting it out. And once it's out, there's more stuff to do. Do you know what I mean? But like, hopefully down the line, we'll have stuff for people to buy. Like we want to engage with people. Do you know? Like people have shown us so much love from the film who have seen it, and the comments have been like humbling. It's the stories that exist in Afghan already. It's the people that find comfort from there already, and it just seems to have, for people who might not have discovered it before. I've started seeing people posting this saying, "Lindsay, well, no, like, you know, we've just joined today. Like, I've just seen it in the like." That's work, and that's kind of like the success. Do you know? Like that's what it's all about. If people can find a safe place in there to talk, like that's what this is about. This is just trying to spread a bit of like positivity and a bit of hope for people, and you know that's what the Afghans stand for. So it's worked.
Yeah, we've had hundreds, Brian, haven't we, of new members this week?
Almost 400 last week. Yeah, yesterday was like 70 odd people. So yeah, people are watching the film and thinking, "What I want to be part of this. What is this?" So it's wonderful. It's wonderful, and it's nice to welcome them in. Absolutely, and they're getting a rough understanding of what we are and what we're about, and non-judgmental and all this kind of stuff. So I mean, the story of the Afghan in the film is so well told. It's so beautiful. Even the boss in a suit in her front room. I mean, who puts a suit on to be interviewed in your own front room?
Well, you know, I wasn't meant to be interviewed in my own front room. We were meant to do it at my favourite music venue, Picture House.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, do you remember knocking on the door? Tarek, if you're watching, forgot about me. You keep been raving.
He couldn't get in.
You keep been raving. I'll remind him of that when he wants a screening at the Picture House.
Yeah, well, we'll do it, but just don't let him in.
So we had to do it in my house, and then we had some of the bits at the end. There's some fans chatting. They were all the Sheffield Afghan were in my back garden.
There's a wonderful bit of Connie, bless her, who's in the film a lot. Connie's a fabulous part of our community, a very important part of our community. There's about 7 different shots of Connie, and she's got 7 different colours of hair in every single shot. It was everything.
It was out the window.
You know, it must have been hell for you, Tom. It's like, who's this with pink hair, brown hair?
Continuity out the window.
Yeah. But that's Connie, like, bless her, and her hair.
Yeah.
It made me laugh a lot, basically, because that's just her, totally.
Yeah. Love Connie.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else anyone else wants to talk about or discuss before we move on to the really stupid quickfire? Because everyone's going to get quickfire. Apart from you, Tom, didn't know he's going to be here, mate. You have to sit here and just be the pretty one. Just be the pretty one with the bigger hair.
Because we've been so busy, I've not really had a chance to ask Tom much about the film. Like you asked Brian, you asked everyone like what their highlights were earlier.
Yeah.
Tom, like what bit are you like the most proud of in that film?
In the film, probably managing to cut around all the middle fingers that Dev gave me.
Oh my God.
Or I say gave up, rather. That was a challenge.
How many were there?
About half an hour's worth.
Fuck.
He's a consistent guy, I'll give him that.
Bless him.
But I think personal highlight, it'd probably be Ali Pali last year. And it kind of confirmed that sense of community for me that I'd seen and heard all about and put together, but I hadn't really seen it firsthand. So being there in the crowd and hearing everyone shout like unity and stuff, it was very reaffirming.
Was that the first time you'd seen them live as well?
Yeah, that too.
So you've gone from literally staring at their faces for 10 hours a day for several months to watching them live. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
Was there stuff that, was there as a particular scene or a part of that film that you wanted to put in, and Mark went, no, we can't use that? Because there must have been.
Tom, watch it.
How do I do this?
You went to America, Mark, with them. You travelled. You done a few of the dates on the American tour with the boys, so you saw them at their best and their worst and stuff like that, and probably filmed them galore all the way through it.
Yeah.
That you wanted to use but couldn't.
Yeah, there's plenty of footage, but I mean, yeah, no, that was good. I mean, the thing was like, it was all just about focusing on the story. All that other stuff can be, you know, that can maybe come to the surface as extras down the line. You know?
Maybe.
I noticed Tom didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Good directing there, Mark. I mean, there's a few funny bits that just because of copyright reasons we wouldn't have been able to have, but I think they were all pretty honest and open. I think it's pretty raw. It's all pretty well documented, really. Whose
idea was it to do Bow in a paddling? What was it? A hot tub in some? Was that in someone's garage?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was actually Marco's manager.
His garage.
Your idea.
No. I think we were talking, and we were like, we were just wondering. We were wondering where we could like place it, because we've not really been thinking too much about where we were going to put people. Like, it wasn't really, and I didn't want to. It wasn't like put them in a set or put them here or dress it up, or like that wasn't really important. So yeah, like, we just put him in a hot tub. And he liked it. I think he'd had a long day, and it was after a long day, wasn't it, Linz? And I think he seemed just to enjoy having a bit of a break and a swim around.
I think they did a rehearsal that day, actually.
Yeah.
Him and Lee were doing a Fender play-along session. I went to pick
okay.
And he looked like he just had the biggest slap around in his face.
Because then we did another interview at
10 hours.
Yeah, we did another interview with Bowen at Andy's house as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
What? Whose hot tub?
Well, funnily enough, I think that was so soon after you brought me on board, wasn't it? I think it was probably the first thing you asked me to do. Was, do you know anyone with a hot tub? And I didn't. So I just put it on. I think I put it on Facebook. Do I know anyone with a hot tub? And then my friends Polly and Dave got back to me immediately, saying, "Yeah, we've got one in our garage."
It's the perfect location for Bowen, though. It works so well.
Well, they're giving us everything, so we were like, at least we can do is give him a little swim.
I just love the fact that, like, it's not a hot tub outside; it's a hot tub in a garage. You can see the tumble dryer, oil on the shelf. You know, it just looks amazing.
It's brilliant. Listen,
I've already been. People are offering me money for the Polaroids of Bowen from the shop.
Like a hefty price on them, Lindsay.
I know.
Yeah, do it. Listen, guys, thank you very much for joining me in the kitchen.
Can I ask one thing? I think if there's anybody watching that is thinking that they would love to make a documentary or start doing something like this, do Mark or Tom or Andy have any advice for anyone that might be thinking about doing something but has never done anything like this before?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I guess the first thing to say is like, try and just start filming. If you've got friends that you can borrow a camera off, or if you can, you know, put savings aside to, like, you don't need a very fancy camera. That first day I shot with idols at Ali Pali was with a 5D Canon Mark II, and you can get them like second hand, and this was, you know, like second, third hand, and that's enough to get you on the road. So just start filming. In terms of, you know, the rest of it, that's kind of down to you. Like, you know, we managed to get a really good group of people together who are willing to sacrifice a lot to get it done, around jobs, around being mothers, around, you know, family life, and you just got to get good people around you, because that's also that's one of the most fun things about something like this is people giving you their stories, but also sharing those stories amongst good people. Like, otherwise, what's the point? Like, in any job, really. Like, if you can try and surround yourself with good people, you'll probably enjoy it more than, you know, otherwise. So yeah, it was the people, really. surround yourself with good people is what I'm trying to say.
Good people, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think
That is, yeah, Mark's hit the nail on the head. That's the key with anything. And it was similar when I was in the band. It was kind of like this reminded me so much of that. I mean, there was only like 4 or 5 of us working on this film. And I think the biggest piece of advice is just like work hard and be nice to people, and like make friends. Making friends is a big part of it. Just be nice to everyone you meet. And when you need a favor, those people will help you out. And that is basically what this film was built on.
yeah. Good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. You're not leaving yet because you're all going to go through just a very quick fire round, which I do for everyone. So apart from you, Tom, didn't know he's here, mate. So you just look pretty for us, smile, show everyone your head.
On my team.
He said
Nice.
pretty, Tom.
Stick pretty, Tom. So we're going to go. You've got 10 questions each. Normally, this is a one-on-one. So there's 30 questions to go through. Starting with Mark, then it goes Boss, then it goes Andy. Really simple. No thinking. Straight off the top of your head. Mark, joy or brutalism?
Brutalism.
Boss, joy or brutalism?
Brutalism.
Andy, meet or welcome?
Hey, welcome, buddy.
Mark, what's your favourite film ever?
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
I thought he was going to say Shawshank. Then I was going to turn you off. Boss, what's your favourite foot?
Left.
Fuck, why?
I don't know.
No one says they're left. Okay, Andy, your favourite TV show ever?
Oh, come on. Are we talking about like just
Sorry,
a standalone series, the first series of True Detective as a standalone series?
yeah, the rest, yeah, you're absolutely right. Mark, Marmite, yes or no?
No.
Fuck's sake. First straight no there.
Absolutely. See ya.
Boss, yes or no?
Yes.
Andy, yes or no?
No.
Fuck's sake. I'm not watching this film again.
Oh no! Please do, Brian.
Mark, what's your favourite documentary you've ever seen?
I can fill in one on this one.
Have you ever seen a documentary, Mark?
Tom.
Hearts of Darkness.
That's what Hearts of Darkness.
Was it? Well, yeah, I like that one too. Fucking hell. Boss, North or South?
North. Off.
Andy, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, can I tell you the strangest thing Dev has ever eaten?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
I asked Dev, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
I've eaten an insect. Can't remember which one.
Was this intentional or
It-
just
in
blew in
my-
your mouth?
I was just running really fast.
What's that? Oh, brilliant. Mark, Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Well done. Boss, what's your favourite fish?
Oh, I hate fish. I don't eat anything that comes out of the sea. Do you know this?
No.
But it's quick fire, isn't it? So I'm going to say a puffer fish.
Okay.
Respectable.
Andy, Blur or Oasis?
Oh, jeez.
There is only one right answer to this.
Do you know, funnily enough, I watched Supersonic yesterday. Only
That-
yesterday.
Good, isn't it?
Well,
That's a
I've
good
got something to show you.
Mark, you seen that one, Mark? It's a good documentary, that one.
That's a documentary. I'm going to say Bravo.
Oh, look, Lindsay's going to show you her Oasis collection now.
With me on the cover of Definitely Maybe.
Holy.
In that room, in that very room.
Oh, really?
So the answer is Oasis, Andy.
So the answer's Oasis, Andy.
No. The answer's Blur.
No.
Blur
Mark,
second.
Mark, what's your superpower?
Invisibility.
Oh, pervert. Boss, what's your favourite smell? Lindsay.
Roses.
You just say fish, won't you?
Incorrect. The answer is your son.
Taking my son to smell roses on our daily walks is my new thing.
Andy.
Loves it.
Andy, many years to come, they're going to make a film, like a movie film of the life of idols. Who's going to play you in that film?
Well, I'm going to need the money, so me.
No. Who's going to play you in that film? I'm thinking Tom Hanks.
Tom's gone.
You look a bit Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is fucking 60 years old.
Although, to be fair, it was all very new romantic in the early days of Idol. So maybe Gary Kemp, Martin Kemp, one of them.
Puppy.
I'll go for Paddy Considine.
Hey, the dogs arrived. Hey.
Ah,
So, Mark, John, Joe, Dev, Snog, Marry, Avoid.
Marry Dev, Snog John, avoid Joe.
Oh, controversial. Boss, what's your superpower?
being a mum, breastfeeding.
Oh,
Controversial.
TMI. Andy, who's your favourite current idol?
Well, Lee can get fucked.
Billy.
What are the other ones again?
Beardy one, 12-year-old one, angry one.
I'll go for the hairy one.
Okay. Who's that? Mark, what's the best gig you've ever been to?
Springsteen at Glastonbury.
Oh. Boss, heavy lungs, yes or no?
Yes.
Mark, Andy, what idol song is there now that you'd wish had been written when you were in the band?
Colossus.
Oh, it's a good track. Mark, favourite cheese?
Cheddar.
Oh, good.
Guys, I've got to leave now. Sorry.
Cheddar. Boss, tea or coffee?
Tea. Decaf. Decaf.
D, oh, fuck's sake. Baby again.
Yeah.
Only thing that keeps me alive is caffeine.
I drink 80 cups of decaf tea a week now.
Andy, what's your superpower?
Walking upstairs backwards quickly.
You can do that, or that you want to do that?
Have you tried it?
No, of course
You
not.
cannot do it.
Okay. Mark, last question. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Unusual, boring, mundane.
Come on, Mark. Oh, God, Mark. Really boring.
Jeez.
Lindsay.
Lindsay, describe yourself in 3 words.
Clumsy, forgetful, tired.
Andy, 3 words.
Brian's future lover.
Oh, nice.
As the cat
Tom,
running out of the box.
Tom, describe yourself in 3 words.
Ed is poor.
Fairly competent sometimes.
Everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Brian.
very much for being here in my kitchen. We've done a full hour, which was absolutely lovely of you. Mark, you hero, boss, hero, hero. Lovely to meet you, Tom. Thank you everything that you did for that movie. It's absolutely
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
fantastic. Thank you, guys.
All
Big
right.
wave.
See you later.